Hello there, YouTube. My name is J-Dog Glucki, and I am the Development Manager at Quality Essential Suite and Horizons International. Today we're going to be looking at our Quality Essential Suite's new Mapset functionality, which allows you to import data into the all-in-one results entry window from text files, CSV, comma delimited, or tab delimited text files. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to look at the actual text files that I have created to do a test of the import. So if I look at these two files, the first one is basically it's 3 lines per data point. So text type document ABC, the number 1, and then 34. Test type document 1, 2, 3, the value 2 and the 3, and then lastly test type document XYZ, then the number 3 and the number 4. Then if I look at a second file that I've created, it's document ABC, 45 and true, and then document 1, 2, 3, 33 and 0. Now these are only one format of files now, and these aren't really comma delimited or tab delimited. It just happens that the rows are going down, the data values go down through the text file. There's other type of text files that you can have. For example, you could have a file where the values are going across. So I'll show you that right now. So I've put together a few examples. So let me put them on the screen. Now, these are all comma delimited text files. That means that each comma is a value. So ID, comma, test code, comma, value. So 1 is the ID, test code is melt01, and the value is 4. In this particular one, it's a tab delimited. That means that AA melt, and then there's a tab in here, and then the number 5. Okay. You could have a file that looks like this, where there's an actual item number and then the test code and then a bunch of different recorded values. Now, what would happen is, in this case, our map set functionality would look at this, and you would map the fact that the values are actually in the first, second, third, in the fourth column going onwards. So that in that one, then in this one, it has lot number, lot number, lot number. So those 3 lot numbers have 3 different recorded values against it. Against the same lot number in this particular file. This is just another example. Okay, test codes and the values. And then we have our 2 that we're going to be working with. So I'm just going to close this file, and I'm going to close that file. And let's take a look at our map set. So I'm going to go to master data and map set entry. So I have 2 map sets set up. The first one is test, and then second file. We have code, description, here's directory, and then the file name. So if I click on load file, it opens up a file open dialog that allows me to choose the file that I want to appear in this directory and file name. So I already have one set, so I'm just going to cancel. So then the default starting cell is where in this file should the process start importing data. So we'll see more about the default starting cell later on in the video. Then you also have process on load. What this means is that when you load the map set, should it automatically start processing from the default starting cell, or should it wait for you to click on a value in order to start processing? Again, we'll see this later on. Map set lines allow you to tell the system where in the text file is your data and where to load it. So what this means is that I put destination line 1, 2, and 3. What that means is that in the all-in-one results entry window, the row offset 0 and column offset 0 will get put into the first line of the all-in-one results window. So just to show you that, I'm going to go to the all-in-one results entry window, and I'm going to generate a new document. So I'm going to choose an item number of AB resin. The inspection is going to be all prop, and then I'm going to pick a generic lot number. Okay, I'm going to click create tests, and those tests are created on the window. Okay, now there's this import button, okay, and that's the button that you're going to be using to import these transactions. So what this map set entry means is it's going to put whatever's in row offset 0 and column offset 0 starting at A1. It's going to put that in the first line of the all-in-one results entry window. So if I open up my text file, that means that row 0, column 0 is text type document ABC. In line 2 of the all-in-one results, it's going to put row offset 1. So it's going to move down 1 row, and it's going to stay in the same column because 0 is the first column. Or, sorry, 0 means don't move over any columns, right or left. And so this second row is going to have the value, the second row is going to have the value 1. The third line is going to say go down 2. So starting at this one, go down 1, go down 2. So it's going to put the number 34 in line 3 of the all-in-one results entry window. Now, if you'll notice, the all-in-one results entry window actually has 5 test codes. So IV001 and AA confirm. So that's what I have the second file, which is the last 2 test values set up. So if I go here, the default starting cell is A1, but there's no process on load. So process on load is not checked off. So if I look at my map set lines, destination line 4 is pulling the 1 down from the default starting cell, and then destination line 5 is pulling the second value from the file. So if we look at that file, so it means that line 4, which is the IV value, is going to start at whatever cell you click on, and it's going to go down 1. So it's going to put the number 45. Now the second one is going to go down 2 lines from where you start. So it's going to start here, 1, 2. So it's going to put the value true. Now the value true is a Boolean, and we'll get into data types in a little bit. So now, in order to make it easier, you can test the validate process. You can test these map set lines in the validate mappings. So I'm going to click on the first one, and I'm going to load my text file. So this is my first text file, okay, and it loads it here. Then I'm going to pick an inspection. So in the all-in-one results entry, we chose AAA all prop. So I'm going to choose AAA all prop in here. So it loads the inspection, and notice the order of the data types. So this is a free text, and then we have a few numbers, and then a Boolean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on validate. So it's basically going to take this and validate the data. So starting at text type document, it goes and it puts the pre-value and then the number 1 and 34. 1 and 34. Okay. So if I choose my second file and I'm going to load the different file, so I'm going to load the second file, okay, and I hit validate, it puts 45 in true. So it automatically says, hey, you know what, these are all valid. If they were not valid, it would put a red square around them. Okay, so now that I know that my map set is properly working, I'm going to go back to the all-in-one results entry window, and I'm going to click on import. Now, in this import window, anytime you click into this spreadsheet, it's going to think that you want to process the map set at that point. Now, one thing, if you don't have a map set loaded, it tells you that it's invalid and that you have to choose a map set before you begin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on whatever document that I want to process these files on, and I'm going to choose a map set. So after I chose the test map set, it knows that I want to pull in the test type text document. It loads that into the spreadsheet map, and because I had the process on load checked off, it automatically puts the values into the pre-value column. Now, if I want to, I can click, and it's now loading the same map set into the pre-values. So it's actually pulling these values. If I click here, it pulls the 3 and 4. So we've left the cells highlighted to tell you which cells have been processed on this spreadsheet. So I'm going to click here. It puts the 1 and 34. Now what I want to do is I want to fill in my IV and my confirm values. And so I choose the different map set. Okay. Now, because the process on load was not checked off for the second file, nothing happens. So it's not until I actually click on document ABC that it fills in these values. Okay. So if I'm finished, I would simply click apply values. And what happens is the display values will fill in and it'll evaluate the pass fail. So it asks, because I have all of my values, it's asking me to move it to history. I'm going to say yes. And then it moves the pre-values over to the display values, and then the pass fails have been evaluated. So I'm going to close this window and show you how it's imported the results into this record. It also has a document status of history because we said yes to that dialog box. So now the one thing about this is that if you want to process the values one document at a time, basically what you would do is, let's go through an example of that. So I'm going to create a new document. AB resin, all prop, and I create tests. Okay, now I'm going to actually, instead of going into the import, I'm going to create another document, okay, with a different, so AB drum fill, and I'm going to say inspection, all prop, and then I'm going to pick this lot number, and I'm going to create tests. So now that this has its tests created, I'm going to go into the import screen. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click on document 49, and I'm going to choose this first one. So it puts these values into 49. And what I can do is I can say apply values, and that puts the values, it actually applies the values. Now, I can click on document 50, and I can click on this one and apply values for document 50. So that's a little bit different than what I did in the first case. The first case, I filled both of the files, so I put all of the pre-values, whereas this case is filling each document separately. So now if I go back to document 49, I can choose my second file map set and click, and it fills in this 45 and true. I say apply values. It asks me to move the document to history. I say yes. It applies the values. Then I go back to my document 50 and I click on document 123. And you'll notice that, oops. So every time you click, it says, hey, I want to process those values. So if you click and there's nothing in there, they're not validating correctly, so it turns them red. So in this case, 0 is not considered a Boolean value. At the time of recording this video, this functionality had not been implemented. By the time you download and install the code, we'll have this working. So I'm just going to click on document ABC, 45 and true, and I apply the values. It asks me if I want to move to history, and I say yes, and then it processes those values. So that's our Mapset functionality. It allows you to import data fairly quickly. The two cases of this is if you get certificates from third-party testing labs, you can load those certificates into this functionality and avoid transcription errors when you're entering your results into your system. The other use case is if you have a piece of equipment that's recording testing values. Again, it's a fast way to load a large number of documents with those testing results from the machines. So thank you very much for watching the video. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email support@qualityessentialsuite.com. And we will be happy to answer any questions that you have about this functionality. Thanks, and have a great day.